Jesse's at Parkway Athletic Club, one of the facilities where he does coaching, personal training. If you want to reach him, you can get him there. You can check out Parkway Athletic Club, their website. If you want to reach out to me for any reason, you can get me at stevemain.com. We're going to talk about something that's pretty controversial and just give our views and opinion on a steroid topic. So welcome, Jesse.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Steve. Good to be here.
Okay, so steroids. This is such a big topic. And all these people saying they're natural when they're not. They're using steroids. They're using some type of a performance-enhancing drug, but they say they're not using them. I just wanted to kind of have a conversation with you about why I know why I think people do that. But first we want to talk about and I think this has something to do with it. Steroids will not make you big. Steroids are not going to put muscle on. Now, let me explain my thought process here. It's, you can take steroids. If you lay on the couch, I promise you, nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. They will do nothing. They're putting your body into a position of where they can work. Now, there's a reason why they call them performance-enhancing drugs. They will enhance your performance in sports or building muscle or whatever. All these Hollywood stars that are taking steroids and I'm not doing anything. Yeah, right. For their superhero roles or whatever. You have to eat more protein. Your diet's got to be dialed in. You got to train. It will allow you to train harder and put more muscle on. No doubt about it. No one's denying that. But why do you think, and I'll get into it more after you go, but why do you think some of these people deny using these drugs?
I think it's pretty easy to understand. I think, it's more of an idea that, at the gym or exercise, whatever it is that you're working towards or working on, it's putting in work and, it takes a good amount of it to really see some changes and takes a lot of discipline. And there's a kind of a diagram that has been built around the things that I'm mentioning when it comes to the gym and performance and, what equals results. And so I think that when it comes to the, introduction of steroids into the conversation and people that are using them, some are shy, to put out there that they're taking them because, I think they believe that it probably discredits a lot of that, it takes away from, what credit they would get from onlookers. And then there's different levels, right? There's levels of people that are just everyday users of gyms that just want to be in better shape for life. They still might take steroids to enhance, themselves. They might get to a point where they feel like they can't, see any more progression in their workout programs. Their strength isn't getting better. They're kind of at like a sticking point. There's all different names that are used to describe that process, but pretty much, they've hit a plateau. And, here they are in a situation where they're like, hey, what do I do next? Right. And again, they put in all that work, might be at this point, maybe we'll call it years just as a point for conversation and, years of hard work and, maybe educating themselves, maybe working with trainers along the way, and even though, this group maybe isn't going to make money doing it, maybe they're not trying to be, professional bodybuilder or professional power lifter or some kind of model that would generate revenue for them in their life, so for them, I think it kind of, again, it's a little bit more taboo even because a lot of people, even like myself, might think about the things that I just mentioned and go, what's the point, right? Like you look really good. You put in a lot of hard work. You got to that point of where you're at, through determination and perseverance and discipline and, a lot of these really, respectable things. And then you introduce this idea of taking, a drug and putting it into your body. And then a lot of people's view is kabam, all of a sudden you turn into, a superhuman or, some kind of model figure deal, right? So again, I think that would probably be my idea of why, and then there's athletes and stuff like that where for competition purposes, it's not legal for them to use them. So they're hiding them for a whole nother reason. I think there's different obvious categories or baskets that you could, put these different groups in. But ultimately, the one that blankets all of it for me is the one that I just mentioned, kind of taking away their credit, taking away the hard work and the stuff that they, put all this effort into, grinding it out, day by day. And I know what that's like. So I can relate, to a feeling that might come after that if you take something and then people are looking at you and going, yeah, he looks really good or she looks awesome, but yeah, they're taking stuff. That's not real. That's just them taking steroids, and anybody can look that way if you were to take steroids. So let's not count that. That's probably pretty much the way I see it.
Yep, I 100% agree with you. That's why. And it's, it's not, but it goes both ways. And if these drugs are illegal, yes, they are in sports and stuff, but just the recreational use of them without a doctor's supervision and prescribing them, they're illegal. So I think there's probably black market stuff out there, but that's not legal. But then you got these people selling their, pre-workout drinks or their post-workout drinks. No, that's not what's enhanced your performance or your physique. It's not the protein powder, it's the drugs. So that's where people have such emotions about this, because they're pushing a product, and it's not that product that they're pushing that has enhanced their physique or whatever. It's the drugs. Do you need, the protein and supplements? Yes, they help. But it's very misleading to be selling supplemental products when you're using drugs. So I think you're right. That's the dilemma. People don't want the drugs to get credit for it. But guess what? There's a reason why they call them performance enhancing drugs. They will enhance your performance in every area, but not if you just sit on the couch. They won't do anything. And you're right. It's not to diminish the hard work that a lot of these people put in, but for the average person to sit at 8% body fat, that's not happening.
Yeah, and again, it just the more the media puts it out there, I think the biggest spin that you get off of it, and the biggest thing that is again just kind of talked about, would be more negatives with it, than positives, right? Whether that's true or not, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not in a lab, watching trials of people taking it, or, looking at a heart after it's taken it for, 10 years at a moderate amount, or maybe too much or whatever. So it's hard for me to say, realistically, if a lot of the even side effects, or the way that they kind of put together a string of the negatives that would go along with taking it, right? I mean, I'm sure there are some. I'm kind of a firm believer in a pretty simple thing for my life that is like, moderation is kind of key to all. Balance is sort of key to all. I think if you're tipping too hard in any direction, take people that recreationally drink, that turns into daily drinking, that turns into a habit. There's ways to measure the things that you do in your life, and there's ways to take advantage of things and use it for good, and then there's also things that turn into a negative by just doing too much, right? But in that same line, a lot of like you're saying, I think with like the black market type stuff, or the kind of dark realm that steroids might sit into for a lot of people that use them or think about using them in normal gyms, if they're not going to see a doctor. There's a lot that comes with that, man. Like a lot of maybe guessing on what is this really that I'm taking, right? If they really think about it, some person just hands you a product, who knows what really is the balance, or like I said, what is really in that, how much milligrams of whatever it's supposed to have, of whatever product that might be that is handed to you, does it really have, and having too much, what does that do to your body? Like I said, I think that there's a lot of scare out there for people too. And so the people that are not participating in it, sitting on the sidelines, watching people in gyms or in even athletic events do it, pretty much what you'll hear a lot of people say without knowing too much about it usually is, how dangerous it is, and, how the side effects could be, so harmful and possibly, right? I mean, again, at certain levels probably could be very true. So yeah, I think it's just a lot of it is misunderstood. I saw a video even recently online, and it was, a couple of people walking up to females and asking them, guys walking up to females and asking, if there's a guy in a gym that is a 10, but he's on steroids, is he still a 10? Right. And most of the girls answered pretty quickly, and they were like, yeah. Even one girl, her idea was, yeah, honestly, like if that person felt like they were at a point, through bettering themselves, and they were stuck and they were at a plateau, and, they didn't see a way to go any further. And again, this is just one person's opinion, not a huge test, right, or study. But her idea was like, yeah, if that person is going to use that for bettering themselves and for, doing some more good, then, so be it. Right. So, I mean, I guess there's all different ways is what I'm trying to say of what people see it as, and, what their truth is, behind maybe not knowing enough or not having all the information in front of them, just like a lot of the things that we come across in our days.
Yeah. And, I'll just say before we close this out, we're not doctors. And we are not advocating the use of any kind of drugs. As a matter of fact, my lifestyle and the way I live, I'm against them all. That's statins, any type of blood pressure. I'm against all of them.
Yeah.
We're not doctors, though. We're not advocating one thing over another. This is just our opinion and our experience, which combined, it goes way back for a long time. So thanks for being with us, Jesse.
Cool. Thank you, Steve.